Hey guys, I am here today to give you my recap and reaction to The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 1 premiere episode. I just watched it. It was awesome! This is your last chance to turn away. If you haven't watched it yet and you don't want to be spoiled on what happens in the episode, turn away now. Okay, let's continue. So, the episode starts with Mando and Baby Yoda flying to some small little town. They're walking down the street. There's graffiti everywhere. It looks like a ghetto. It looks really bad. They go into some place where there's a fight happening. And there's a ring, and it kind of looks like a UFC fight or something, but it's not UFC. It's two Gamorrean guards fighting to the death. Remember those guys from Return of the Jedi? They've got these huge, big battle axes, but they're electrified, and they're chopping at each other, swinging at each other. Anyway, Mando goes in there. He's got Baby Yoda with him in the little flying baby carriage, and he sits down next to a Cyclops. Yeah, and I think the Cyclops was played by John Leguizamo, because I saw his name in the credits, and then I thought, yeah, that makes sense. I think that was him. So he's there because he thinks Cyclops knows the location of another Mandalorian. And he wants him to tell him where to find another Mandalorian, because he says he needs the help of more Mandalorians to help find the home world of Baby Yoda, because that's now his mission. That's his quest, to return Baby Yoda to its own people. So Cyclops says, yeah, I know where another Mandalorian is, but I'm not going to tell you. And then a whole bunch of guys surround Mando with their guns drawn. And Cyclops is like, so now you're going to give me your armor, or we're going to kill you and we'll take your armor anyway. And then, Mando, he's just like, well, you can't see the expression on his face, but you can imagine what his face looked like. It was like, yeah, give me a break. And he tells Cyclops, tell me what I want to know, and we all walk out of here, or I kill you. So, what does Mando do? He hits that fancy thing on his wrist, and all the little tiny rockets that are like heat-seeking missiles, or whatever they are, and it kills all the gunmen. And the short little fat John Leguizamo Cyclops gets away and runs out of the building. Mando goes outside, uses his awesome grappling hook, gets him by the feet, drags him over, hangs him upside down. Then Cyclops tells him that the Mandalorian that he's heard about is on Tatooine. And Mando's like, Tatooine? I've spent all my summer vacations on Tatooine, and I've never run into another Mandalorian there. You don't know what you're talking about. And Cyclops, John Leguizamo, says, no, my information is good. If you go to Tatooine, to Mos Pilgo or something like that, you will find another Mandalorian. So Mando thinks about it. He's like, okay, I'm going to go and check. So he leaves that guy there. He gets in a ship with Baby Yoda. They fly to Tatooine, and they land in that same scrapyard that they landed in before. Remember the lady with the curly hair and the little robots, the little droids? And she's very happy to see Baby Yoda, and the droids get to work on his ship. And then he tells her, have you heard of this Mos Pilgo, whatever? I can't even remember the name already. And she's like, oh yeah, I heard of it, but it's not on any map because it practically got wiped out at the time that the Empire was sort of dissolved and when the second Death Star blew up. So she gets an old map, shows him where it is. He grabs the speeder bike and takes the speeder bike across the desert to get to this place, because remember, he's trying to find the other Mandalorian. Well, it turns out it's a 2-day trip by speeder bike. So he spends one night in the desert with Tusken Raiders, the Sand People. They're sitting around the campfire singing Kumbaya, and who knew that Mando could speak Tuscanese? So you see him doing this. It's kind of a combination of like sign language and a bunch of grunting. Anyway, they seem to have a good time together. So, next day, he arrives at this little tiny mining town. Remember, it's not even on the map anymore. And he goes into the little local cantina, and there's a Weequay who's the bartender. And he tells the bartender, "Hey, have you seen a Mandalorian around these parts?" And the bartender goes, "Whoa, what does he look like?" And then Mando goes, "Like me?" And he goes, the bartender goes, "You mean like that guy?" And Mando turns his head and looks, and who is standing in the doorway? Boba Fett! Only it's not Boba Fett. It's fake Boba Fett. So this guy, he's wearing Boba Fett's armor. How do I know it's Boba Fett's armor? They made it pretty clear that it's Boba Fett's armor. The helmet had the dent, like there's like dent, like somebody shot him with a bullet, but it didn't go all the way through. And you can tell by the colors, it is definitely Boba Fett's armor. So Mando does not like this one bit. He can tell within a few seconds of listening to this guy talk that this is not a real Mandalorian. And the guy took his helmet off to have a drink. So Mando tells him, "Dude, give me that armor or I'm gonna kill you and take the armor." He makes a lot of death threats. And I think his name was Cobb Vanth. So fake Boba Fett is like, "I'm not giving you this armor. I guess we're just gonna have to have an old-fashioned Western style shootout." So he stands up, you see his hand hovering over his pistol like you've seen in those movies, right? They're gonna draw, and just right when you think they're gonna draw and shoot each other, and I'm sure Mando would have killed him, of course. But anyway, the ground starts to shake. It starts to rumble, and you think, is this an earthquake? I thought, hey, it must be like a gigantic Star Destroyer that's coming down and is gonna land on the planet. No, it was neither one of those. You know what it was? You seen the movie Tremors? I thought they were doing a Tremors crossover episode in the first episode of the second season. I was like, are you kidding me? They're doing a Tremors crossover? I was waiting for Kevin Bacon to jump out. No, it was not a Tremors crossover, but it was a gigantic creature tunneling under the dirt, crawling through the ground, just like the thing in Tremors, right? Comes right through the main street of the town, things are falling over, whatever. Finally comes up out of the dirt when it gets to the other end of the town, it's not very far, comes up and eats a bantha in one bite. I mean, easily one bite. This thing was huge. So it eats the bantha, goes back down in the dirt, and takes off, and that's the end of that. So now, all of a sudden, Mando and fake Boba Fett, they're buddies. And fake Boba Fett's like, well, let's see. Let's make a deal. You help me kill this dragon, they call it a dragon, and then I will willingly give you the Mandalorian armor and everything will be good. So Mando's like, all right, we have a deal. Okay, so how are they going to kill this thing? What do they do? So fake Boba Fett says, I know where this thing sleeps. So they go all the way out there. They go all the way out there to where this thing sleeps, and they run into these like little reptile dog thingies, right? And the things come out and they're growling and they look like they're gonna attack fake Boba Fett and Mando. But all of a sudden, Mando starts speaking Tuscanese to these things. And then they're all friendly and nice and he's over there petting it. And then the Tuscan Raiders come out from behind the rocks. And he starts talking to them in Tuscanese. Or whatever. And turns out they want to kill this dragon thing too. So, long story short, they agree to team up. They're all going to team up. The townspeople, Mando, fake Boba Fett, the Tuscan Raiders, they're all going to team up and join together to try to kill this huge, gigantic dragon. So, they gather up a bunch of explosives and weapons and all kinds of stuff, and they go to where this thing sleeps. It is an abandoned Sarlacc pit. And somebody said, there are no abandoned Sarlacc pits. And then somebody said, well, it is if the dragon ate it. I guess so. So it's in there. So they're going to have to try to lure this thing out, right? Well, to lure it out, they tie up a bantha by the mouth of the cave. And then there was a Tusken Raider who tied him up, and then he went, to get the thing to come out. So when the thing came out, instead of eating the bantha, it goes after the Tusken Raider and eats the Tusken Raider instead and leaves the bantha there. And the other Tusken Raiders were like, that was my cousin Bob, man. So then, I think I'm jumping around on the timeline here. I think it was after that they decided they needed the help of the townspeople. And then they got everybody to come. They brought the explosives. They decided they're going to put the explosives down in the dirt. And when they draw the dragon out far enough, they'll detonate the explosives because his only vulnerable spot is the belly. Well, of course, nothing goes according to plan. It doesn't work right. Dragon comes out, but he doesn't come out far enough. Doesn't get in the right spot. They do the explosives. It's still alive, right? This thing is still alive. And they're firing all kinds of weapons at it, but they're making it really mad. So it goes back into the cave. And then this thing comes bursting out from the top of the mountain. So it had tunneled through the mountain all the way up to the top. It's huge. And guess what this dragon can do? It's got like acid, toxic waste vomit. This green-yellow vomit. So it's spitting this bleh, and this stuff landing on Tusken Raiders and villagers, and they're all from the acid vomit and dying. And they're all going, what do we do now? How do we kill this thing? So here's a really cool part. So fake Boba Fett and Mando, they use their jetpacks and go flying up to the top of the mountain. Cool scene. I loved it in season 1 when all the Mandalorians used their jetpacks. It was really awesome. So it's really cool to see this. The special effects are top-notch, of course, just like season 1, maybe even better. So they get up there, they start shooting at it, and all they're doing is making this thing super mad. And they eventually go back down to the ground, and now the thing's down there crawling around on the ground, eating more Tusken Raiders. Nothing's working. Mando looks over at a bantha, and this bantha has a whole bunch of explosives strapped to it. So he hits the jetpack on fake Boba Fett. Fake Boba Fett goes flying off to get out of the way. Mando stands there holding the rope with the bantha as the dragon comes and swallows him and the bantha in one bite and goes back under the dirt. And then it's like dead silence. Everybody's looking at each other and looking around going, holy crap, that thing just ate Mando. And I'm thinking, the show's over. Season 2 is only going to have 1 episode. That's it. The show is done. Nope, that is not the case. The thing comes up out of the ground, and you see Mando flying out of its mouth with its jetpack. He was zapping it with his electric gun or whatever. And then once he gets out from the mouth of the dragon, he hits the detonator. Remember, the bantha had a whole bunch of explosives strapped to it. Hits the detonator, and that thing just explodes all over the place. So guts, blood, whatever, flying everywhere. The thing is dead. Its belly is blown wide open. And then pretty much it's just the cleanup after that. So the Tusken Raiders, they're all digging around on the inside of the belly of this thing. And I thought, okay, they're just cutting away the meat. They're going to keep the meat to eat it later. And eventually they find this big silver ball that's about the size of a basketball. But they never tell you what it is or what it's for. So that better come up again in another episode, because for them to show that and not say anything about it, there has to be a reason. Was it an egg for a baby dragon? Was it, I don't know. Maybe it's something valuable. So anyway, we'll see if that comes up again. And then, everything's all good. Mando's like, okay, yeah, thanks. And fake Boba Fett gives him the armor, just like he agreed to. Everybody's happy. Dragon's dead, whatever. And Mando's gonna go off, continuing his quest to find another Mandalorian. Then the scene pulls back. Here's the awesome part, guys. Here's the really cool part. The coolest part for longtime Star Wars fans like me. The scene pulls back. and you see some guy standing way back on a ridge, looking down on all that action that just happened. They don't know he's there because he's way back and he's on the ridge. And this guy turns around. And who is it? Who is it? It is Boba Fett. The real one. How do I know? Because it's the same actor that played Jango Fett. Remember Jango Fett? Episode 2, right? Okay, so it's that guy. So if Boba Fett is going to look like anybody, he's going to look like that. Because remember, Boba was a clone of Jango Fett, which means he's going to look exactly like Jango Fett, but he's older now. So he turns around, he was watching the whole thing. That's got to be Boba Fett. So what's going to happen now with Boba Fett and the Mandalorian? Is he going to go after Mando? Is he going to say, hey, that's my armor, dude, I want it back? And how about explaining what's he been doing all these years? How did he get out of the Sarlacc pit? Are they ever going to talk about that and explain that? And I don't know, is Boba Fett going to be a good guy or a bad guy? I mean, I have a feeling they're going to kind of turn him into a good guy, but I would hope that they didn't, because Boba Fett was never a good guy. He was a bounty hunter. And I hope they keep him kind of mysterious, so I don't know. We'll see what happens and how it goes in the rest of the episodes for season 2. But let me just wrap this up by saying I was really impressed by this episode. It was very enjoyable. I loved it. It was suspenseful. It was fun to watch. It's exciting. It gives me all kinds of questions about, more episodes coming up. And guys, hit the subscribe button because I'm going to be doing a recap after every single episode this season. So more to come. Plus more Star Wars content. All right, guys. See you next time.